How can you blame your husband when he's out of work and hurting? Don't you have a shred of empathy? A wife should be a quiet pillar of support in times of hardship. You're failing as a wife. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law stormed into our home and started berating me. I was taken aback by their sudden ambush and their accusations, as if I was the one at fault. I wanted to argue back, but they didn't even give me a chance to get a word in. We're moving in here to straighten you out, they continued. You'd better listen to us.
That's a great idea. Let's all live together.
My husband Ben grinned from behind his mother, agreeing with her. Why this sudden decision? Living together is out of the question. We have barely enough furniture and appliances for the two of us. We'll bring what we need from our place. The rental we're in is cheap, but it's old and drafty. The lease is up for renewal soon anyway, so the timing couldn't be better.
All right then. Let's plan to move you guys in the next month since you'll need time to prepare.
Great! Now Mom won't have to do housework anymore. That's nice. Yes, it's been hard with my age. Now I can finally relax. The three of them decided to move in and made plans without hearing a word from me. They're planning to pawn their chores off on me and have an easy life. I won't allow it. I've had enough of being used by these people. I decided it was time to take action. My name is Molly. I work in product development for a cosmetics company. I have sensitive skin, and using products that don't suit me causes breakouts. That's why I joined a cosmetics company to create products that even I could use. My work keeps me busy, and I often have to work late. Still, I enjoy my job and was content with my life. However, by the time I hit my late 20s, my friends started getting hitched. A concerned friend noting my single status introduced me to Ben. We hit it off immediately because we both liked the same band. We got hitched 6 months after we started dating. Ben had been under pressure from his parents to get married, and he had mentioned early on that he was dating with marriage in mind. I went with the flow and tied the knot because I knew it would alleviate my parents' worries. Ben runs a national chain of family restaurants and is always swamped. He often comes home late because he's short-staffed, so I handle all the housework. Honestly, juggling work and home chores isn't a walk in the park, but we enjoyed watching live shows together and going to our favorite band's concerts on our days off. The only downside of our married life was dealing with my in-laws. My mother-in-law, Cindy, treats me like a housemaid, assigning me various chores when we visit. Molly, can you help organize the storage room? There are so many of my husband's things, it's overwhelming. The storage room? I can't decide that's necessary and what's not on my own. Can't you help? I can't do such heavy work. Are you saying it's okay if I hurt my back? That's not what I meant. I'll help with the heavy lifting, so let's do it together. You're too noisy. A good wife should just listen and obey without complaining. Stop whining and get to work. I also had issues with my sister-in-law, Eva, who lived with my in-laws. Eva is snarky and always has a nasty comment when we meet. Aren't you embarrassed wearing so much makeup at your age? She often made offensive remarks about my appearance, which was very uncomfortable. Not only that, she would suddenly assign me household chores, treating me like a servant. Initially, I was asked to do chores every time we visited, but gradually they started calling me over to do chores, which began to take up my days off. I was fed up with this lifestyle and couldn't accept it, so I decided to discuss it with Ben. I'm at my wit's end with Cindy and Eva constantly calling me over to do chores. I have a job too. Can't you at least ask them to tone it down?
Well, isn't it because you're so reliable? Just think of it as them relying on you and let it slide.
I feel like they're using me as a maid. They only call me when they need something done.
There's nothing we can do. I'm busy with work, just bear with it. He
dismissed my concerns without taking the conversation seriously. As a result, I was summoned to my in-laws' house whenever there was a problem and assigned chores. Gradually, visiting my in-laws became a source of stress for me. Amid all this, I learned that the performance of the store Ben managed was gradually declining. As he started receiving complaints from the corporate office, his mood soured. If it was just a bad mood, I could have handled it, but he began taking out his frustration on everyone around him.
Why is it curry today? I want a fried chicken. This is the worst.
If you told me this morning, I could have made fried chicken. Can't make it now because I don't have the ingredients.
You're useless. Learn to read the room.
I was also tired from work and didn't have the energy to walk on eggshells, which only made his mood worse. Moreover, it seemed like he was venting his frustration at work as well, causing employees to quit one after another. As a result, he had to pick up the slack, which made him busier and more irritable, creating a vicious cycle. Just as I started realizing that our current situation was doing more harm than good, Ben got sucked into the world of poker. A buddy of his had introduced him to the game as a distraction from his spiraling frustrations. That quick distraction soon turned into a full-blown addiction. He was hitting the poker parlor every single day as if sleep was a mere inconvenience. Off to play poker again? Maybe you should ease up a bit.
What? Just zip it. I'm just blowing off some steam.
He shot back. Do you even have the funds for this? I haven't seen any of this month's living expenses yet.
You're pulling in more dough, so why don't you take care of the bills? I'm strapped for cash this month. But hey, if I win at poker, I'll get us something nice.
He dismissed my concerns and headed out. I was left standing there, speechless, as I watched his retreating back. I'd always earned more than Ben and had taken on most of our living expenses. But since his obsession with poker began, he hadn't contributed a dime. About 3 months into his poker phase, his restaurant business finally tanked. Now jobless, his income dropped to zilch. I hoped he'd start job hunting right away, but he just seemed to lose all motivation. Instead, he'd start drinking at noon and head off to poker. Maybe you should start looking for a new job soon. How much longer are you planning on continuing this?
Ugh, just zip it. Don't order me around.
Our arguments became more frequent and our relationship cooled off dramatically. Then, about a month into this new norm, my mother-in-law Cindy and sister-in-law Eva showed up unannounced. How can you blame your husband when he's out work and hurting? Don't you have a shred of empathy? A wife should be a quiet pillar of support in times of hardship. You're failing as a wife. I was taken aback by their sudden ambush and their accusations as if I was the one at fault. I wanted to argue back, but they didn't even give me a chance to get a word in. We're going to move in here to set you straight, so listen up.
That sounds like a good idea. Let's all live together.
Ben chimed in, grinning over Cindy's shoulder and nodding approvingly. Why this sudden decision? Living together is out of the question. We have barely enough furniture and appliances for the two of us. We'll bring what we need from our place. The rental we're in is cheap, but it's old and drafty. The lease is up for renewal soon anyway, so the timing couldn't be better.
Alright then. Let's plan to move you guys in next month since you'll need time to prepare.
Great! Now Mom won't have to do housework anymore, that's nice. Yes, it's been hard with my age. Now I can finally relax. They made these grand plans, completely ignoring my protests. Their plan to foist all the chores on me and take it easy was something I simply couldn't tolerate. I was done being used by these people. I decided to take a stand. A month later, Eva called me, her voice frantic. Why is everything in the house gone? And what's this about divorce papers? I can't live like this with Ben any longer. I'm filing for divorce. I have no intention of moving in with you two. We had planned for Cindy and Eva to move in that afternoon, but a local poker tournament had lured Ben out early. I'd seized the opportunity to hire movers and clear out while he was gone. What do you mean? You think you can just up and leave? Everything in the house is ours, isn't it? Give it back. Everything here was bought by me before we got married. I'm perfectly within my rights to take them." "What? You're saying even the fridge and the microwave were yours? Don't lie." "I'm not lying. Ben never had the money to buy new furniture or appliances, so I brought in what I had been using." When Ben realized what was going on, he took the phone from Eva.
"What the hell is this? I never agreed to a divorce."
"When considering the money needed for our wedding, we didn't have enough. Ben said I would have to foot the bill if we wanted new appliances. True, I make more than him, but it's not enough to buy everything new, so I decided to use my old appliances." Eva couldn't talk back to me and just grinded her teeth. Just then, Ben walked in, probably back from playing poker, and I could hear him in the back.
"Where are all our stuff?"
"Molly took them all with her and left you this instead. It's divorce papers."
"Divorce papers? What's going on?"
"She left the house while you were out playing poker. That's why I'm on the phone with her right now to find out what she's up to." When Ben realized what was going on, he took the phone from Eva.
"What the hell is this? I never agreed to a divorce."
"Even if I had told you, you wouldn't have listened, right? Can't be with someone who doesn't work and just plays poker all day. Let's just end it."
"You think you can do whatever you want? Even if you want a divorce, I'm not signing anything."
"Well, then we'll probably have to take this to court. I've already consulted a lawyer, so I'm not bothered. Are you okay with that?"
"Go ahead. You should know you can't get a divorce without a valid reason."
"I do have a valid reason. You've been borrowing money behind my back, haven't you?"
"What? How did you—"
"It was strange how you kept going to poker every day without working, so I hired a detective agency to investigate. I'd consulted a lawyer about his borrowing money and not contributing to the living expenses, then had a detective recommended by the lawyer investigate his debts. The lawyer said this could be enough to file for divorce, so I'm not worried about going to court. But are you? If we ended up in court, he would need to hire a lawyer too, and that would cost him. Considering his already hefty debt, that seemed like an added burden he wouldn't be able to handle. Cindy has a job at a canning factory and Eva works part-time at a supermarket. Neither of them make much money, so they can't really help out."
"Don't talk about court and divorce. Please, reconsider. I'll find a new job."
"I'm sorry, but I don't want to be with someone who's buried in debt, even if you find employment."
"I'll pay off the debt. I promise. Just come back. I won't cause you more trouble."
You make it sound like it's easy to repay, but it's not an amount you can handle, right? After some hesitation, he murmurs, almost inaudibly.
"It's around $50,000 in total."
$50,000? That's more than your annual earnings when you had a job.
"But I'll give it my all. Listen, how about you lend me the money? That way I won't have to deal with the interest, and I think I can settle the debt faster. I'll definitely repay you."
He makes a suggestion that I can't possibly trust, leaving me speechless. I've been handling all the house chores and living expenses until now, and now you want to burden me with your debts too?
"No, not at all. I told you I'll repay it."
I'm sorry, but I can't trust your word anymore. Besides, isn't this debt a result of your poker addiction? There's no way you can just quit.
I'll just cut down on playing a bit."
His ambiguous attitude only angers me more. If you can't quit poker, repaying the debt is pointless. You'll just end up borrowing more money when you go broke.
"You can't know that for sure. I'll limit my poker playing within my means and I won't cause you any more trouble."
He responds desperately, but I don't believe he can easily quit when he's so hooked on gambling that he borrows money to play. You make it sound easy not to cause trouble, but the reason I want a divorce isn't just about the debt. I won't be burdened with all the housework after you unilaterally decided that we should live together.
"I understand. I'll get my mom and sister to help with the housework. You just focus on your job. So please, come back. I can't even afford the rent without you."
I flatly reject his desperate pleas for me to return. Firstly, I can't live with your family who have such a presumptuous mindset. I'm not a slave. I can't live with them unless they change their way of thinking.
"But my mom and sister have already given up their previous place. They have nowhere else to go." Are you going to leave them high and dry?
Can you not phrase it as if I'm abandoning them?
But that's the reality. If you're not here, the burden on my mom and sister will increase, won't it? My mom is getting old. She may not be able to work for much longer.
If you're that concerned about your mother and sister, you should work and provide for them. Don't depend on me.
Please, Molly, don't abandon us.
Ben cries out, but I decide to ignore him and end the call. I then block his number and sever ties completely. Afterward, I initiated divorce mediation with a lawyer, but Ben was reluctant to sign the divorce papers. However, when it escalated to a lawsuit, he grudgingly signed them, realizing he was backed into a corner. It seems that Cindy and Eva planned to have me shoulder all the living expenses if we lived together, and they had splurged their savings on clothes and cosmetics before moving in. Consequently, they couldn't afford the apartment rent and ended up moving to a rundown apartment. Ben tried to find a new job, but luck wasn't on his side, and now he's working a part-time job at a convenience store, barely making ends meet. However, most of his earnings go towards debt repayment, so Cindy and Eva have to financially support him, making their lives harder than ever. On the flip side, I'm back to focusing on my work and making significant progress. That's my vision for the future. I recently started dating a coworker. He's a senior in the same department, and our relationship started when he offered advice on my home situation. We moved in together, and he helps a lot around the house, making our lives much easier. My stress has significantly reduced since the divorce, and I've been able to focus on my work again. Not only in my personal life, but also at work, things are looking up bit by bit. I'm not considering remarriage yet, but when I do, I want a partnership where we can support and care for each other. That's my vision for the future. Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.